Welcome to the Collaborative Rabbit Hole Podcast. I'm Luke.
And I'm Brandon.
We're two cousins who enjoy asking the deep questions of life.
With topics ranging from faith and theology to history, philosophy, culture, and humor.
But we explore every rabbit hole along the way.
And drive each other deeper and deeper down.
Our goal is simple, to be mildly informative and wildly entertaining.
So, pull up a chair.
Buckle up.
Please keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times.
And let's see where today's rabbit trail leads.
Jinx.
And we're back still with Jennifer, but we are starting a new episode now because the other one was probably too long. So now we're going to talk about church camp.
Yay!
Yay, church camp memories. Where do you want to start?
Where do you want to start? You're the one who planned it out.
I didn't say I planned it out. I said
You said you had a list.
Oh, I had a list in my head, but I didn't write it down yet.
Oh.
Anyway, there's a whole ton of things that we could say about church camp, like throwing soapy water on the bees, and the mouse story, and
Let's start with the bees, and we'll work our way up from
Well,
there.
let's start with explaining our camp.
Even better.
Because we all grew up going to the same camp.
the same one that our dads went to.
Our dads went to it. My mom went to it. It just goes back in the family.
And now we've all worked at that camp too. And that's where
Yes.
we were
Mhm.
last week. Or at least that's where Luke and I were last week.
I was not.
And I was there the week before as well. I've never stopped going, except the year I was sick and in and out of the hospital. I didn't go that year, but
For good reason.
I would have rather been there. And actually, I still did go that year just to speak like one night every week.
Wow.
Even though one of those times I left the emergency room against medical advice just so that I could go speak.
Wow.
I didn't know you did that.
Yes, I did that. And then got a lecture from the camp director about how unwise that was and how traumatic it would be for the kids if I were to die in front of them while I was speaking. That did happen. But we used to have camp in Oklahoma. That's where we grew up and spent the first several years staffing.
Yeah, that was at Beaver's Bend State Park.
Beautiful state park. Beautiful place. Like all the greenery, the river, the trees and stuff. We used to go on hikes with the campers. It was great. The water hole was nice. Freezing
Cold.
The
cold.
water hole was freezing.
Was it at the foot of a dam or was it on top of the dam?
I don't know. I just know there was a dam nearby.
I think it was at the foot of it, and then when they released the water every now and then, we would get a rush
It was
of extra
always
cold water.
freezing. It was never not freezing.
It might have been especially cold after they released water, but yeah, it was definitely freezing.
And it
every
smelled
single
fishy.
time. And there were live fish too,
And snakes.
and snakes.
Yeah, that was fun.
Did you encounter a snake at the swimming hole?
Not personally, but from a distance. Like, especially the later years when I was sitting up on top of the hill, I could see them down in the swimming hole.
Eesh.
Big snakes, too.
Cool.
That does not bring back happy memories, but I don't go to that swimming hole anymore. So,
I heard a story of when they were doing a baptism late at night. They showed a flashlight over the water, and you could see a lot of little eyes. And it was like, oh, we got to get them baptized, get out.
Well, it was always creepy there at night for those late night baptisms because there's this fog that just kind of hovers over the water and it's dark. There's no lights out there. Just a really eerie scene.
I was baptized there, but it was in broad daylight in the middle of the afternoon. But still, you're creeping me out with the snake stories.
But in 2019, we moved to a new location in Arkansas, which has a lot nicer facilities. It's not quite as out in the middle of nowhere. It was the first year, but they've been adding these housing additions all around it, and so it's a little more populated now.
The mattresses on the beds can actually pass for mattresses, unlike at Beaver's Bend.
Weren't the Beaver's Bend mattresses donated from a prison?
That's what they always said. I don't know if that rumor was true or not.
I think I read a tag that it was donated from a prison or
Oh,
something.
really?
I think so.
Interesting.
Well, they were hard as rocks in any case.
It was like
I would
sleeping on concrete.
I would wake up with bruises from the mattresses.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been nice. And the bathrooms are in the cabin now instead of having to walk all the way across the camp
Mm-hmm.
to get to the bathroom.
2 showers per cabin instead of 5 showers to share with the whole camp. 5 girls
Y'all
showers.
only had
and
2
5
showers in a cabin?
Here, yeah. Did you have more showers?
Oh, actually, the first 3 cabins do only have 2. The other ones, one side has 4 and the other side has 3.
4 showers. Wow.
The
How many
4th cabin on the very end past the
How
dining
many
hall,
beds does it have?
the same, like 16 or
I
18.
think it was 16 beds. That's interesting. As much of a pain as it was to walk all the kids down to the shower house, and they could never get there with all of their stuff. So then you made like 55 trips back from the shower house to go get their towels and soap and everything else. As much of a pain as that was, it was nice to be able to get most of the girls in and out at once. But this camp, when there were only 2 showers to rotate through shower time, was a lot less efficient.
But it is nicer in general, too.
It is much nicer in general.
I need to go visit the new campus at some point.
Yes, you do.
Can we call it a campus if it's a campground or?
Sure, why not?
Okay, the new campus, I need to go.
You need to go to camp next year.
Yeah, take a week off work and come with us.
I could do that. I could schedule that.
So, yeah, that's where we've been the past couple of weeks. Poor Brandon had to stay home and work.
Aw.
He's so disappointed that he didn't get to go to camp.
Totally.
But yeah, we've got lots of great stories from the past couple of weeks, but also having spent a lot of our childhoods there.
What are some that come to mind?
What were we going to start with?
We were going to start with the
soapy
bees
water on the
that
bees?
Brandon wanted to talk about.
There were several years at camp where there were lots and lots of bees, and I don't remember why, but one year Luke and I spent hours of camp that year throwing soapy water on the bee trees. You would just go get the mop bucket and we'd fill it up with water and put some dish soap in it.
It was because, and I don't remember who it was, but one of the adults was saying that this particular soap or whatever would kill the bees. It would suffocate them.
Something about they couldn't
and it
fly
was-
after the soap hit their wings. I don't know what the story was.
And it was
but
cheaper than buying actual spray.
yeah, I don't remember looking back why we didn't have actual bee spray. Maybe somebody eventually got us some bee spray. I don't know, but one way or another, you and I were going out like every morning with the mop bucket full of soapy water and plastic pitchers from the kitchen, and we were splashing soapy water on the bees for like hours.
Did it work?
No.
Well, it killed some of them. It did kill some bees.
But it was not as effective as spray.
No, not nearly as effective as bee
And,
spray.
they would just be back later the same day, and we'd have to do it all over again. Like,
Yeah.
didn't
It
actually get rid of the problem.
provided a little bit of temporary relief, but you and I had lots of long conversations splashing water on the trees. Soapy water on the bees, yeah.
One of my least favorite chores. Better than the mice, though.
Better than the mice, though. Although I will say about the bees and wasps, I don't remember which one they were, but the girls in the shower house would always freak out about the bees. Oh no, there's a bee! I can't even walk in here to take a shower. And I would always tell them, don't bother them, and they won't bother you. And then there was one year I quit saying that because I didn't intentionally bother the bees, but one morning I was in the shower house and turned on the shower, and there ended up a bee between me and the shower spout, and I got stung.
Ouch.
So I quit telling the kids, don't bother them and they won't bother you. Although maybe I still said that, because what else can you say to convince them to take a shower?
Yeah.
But maybe camp eventually funded bee spray. So the mouse.
Tell us about the mouse.
So one year, Mom and I were camp counselors together. I'm sure it was probably cabin 3 because we
It
were
was
always in
cabin
cabin
3.
3. And Mom was teaching a Bible class, something about bread. Maybe Jesus is the bread of life or something like that. And so she had some bread for demonstration purposes. And one day we get back from lunch and Mom pulls out her loaf of bread for Bible class in its plastic bag. And she looks and she says, oh no, there's holes in the bread bag. We have a mouse. And Luke was, I don't know, I guess the jack of all trades for that year. So the kids went off to swim time that day and we said, pull your luggage out from the wall. Never mind why. We're not going to discuss why, because they freak out bad enough for bees. We didn't want to freak them out over a mouse. Nobody would have slept and we were sleep deprived enough anyway. So none of the kids needed to know that there was a mouse. So everybody pull your luggage out from the wall, just doing a little bit of maintenance. Don't ask questions. Go to swim time. Bye. Then Luke and I spent the entirety of swim time trying to plug every possible mouse hole in the entire cabin.
And set some mouse traps.
And set some mouse traps, but we had steel wool and we
Yep.
cut it and we plugged every single hole with steel wool and duct tape.
Yep.
And then eventually, I think it was a little later that we got the mouse traps, but somebody
Yeah,
went to the
maybe.
store and got your basic
It was
mouse
Uncle
traps.
Craig
Uncle Craig went to the store and got some mouse traps.
at the dollar store, as cheap as you can find.
And we hid them in empty Coke can boxes from the country store.
Yep.
Because, of course, you don't want the kids to see a mouse trap. So,
And they kept snapping shut on my fingers.
and Luke couldn't figure out how to keep his fingers out of the way of the metal bar on the traps.
I heard that you kept laughing after it
He
snapped on your
did.
finger.
Jennifer kept laughing.
He kept laughing too.
My way to not cry. It hurt.
I'm sure.
Well, the bad part was you snapped your fingers in those traps like 7 times over. Jennifer. And I was thinking, like, I set one or two of them, and I was like being super, super, super careful not to get my fingers in the spot.
Well, I just wanted to get it over with.
And I was going very slowly, but I did not get my fingers smashed by the mousetrap. So Luke over there got his fingers smashed a whole 7 times while trying to set mousetraps for our cabin. And then I go up to him the next morning and he's like, "Hey, Jennifer, my fingers hurt." And I'm like, yeah,
I wonder
yeah.
I
why.
can still feel the pain.
No kidding. Anyway, I don't think we ever caught the mouse.
I don't think so, but as you were telling the story, I did remember another detail.
What's that?
We knew about the mouse, actually.
Oh, yeah, the cabin the week before. So there were campers in that cabin the week before, and the mouse had run across somebody's foot, right?
Uh-huh.
But it was like 3 days in, and nobody had bothered to tell us that there was a mouse in there. Us being me and Mom, the adults in charge of the cabin that week.
There's no need to worry anybody.
Until there was a mouse. Anyway, so that was the mouse adventures at camp. There was another year I had a few girls who really liked bugs. And so Cabin 3 became like the bug sanctuary of Mountain Fork. They kept capturing different bugs. They had a walking stick and who knows what else. And they were all in boxes in the upper loft of our cabin. That was interesting.
Did they feed the bugs?
I don't remember. I left them in charge of that. There was another time I walked in, I guess it was after lunch or something, and they're like, Miss Jennifer, there's a lizard. And I'm like, where's the lizard? Well, it's over here. Okay, let me go find something to catch the lizard. So I told the girls, you guys keep an eye on it. Make sure you know where it goes. And I went back to the country store where Luke equipped me with an empty bubblegum bucket to go catch this lizard. And by the time I get back to the cabin, the lizard is all the way clear in the other corner of it and no longer has a tail. Poor lizard. And so we had a whole lot of scrambling around and had one brave kid who finally caught the lizard and we released him outside.
Yay, he survived.
I remember
That
one
did
year.
not pick up on the microphone at all.
I said, yay, he survived.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I remember one year as a camper, there was a snake on our doorstep. I didn't see it, but I heard about it. And that was the year that I was very, very freaked out about anything snakes. I'm still freaked out about the snakes in the lake. I wouldn't have ever swum in there.
Well, there was one year just a few years ago at the new place.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was walking back to the cabin, and your mom had a cabin of girls
And she
on
was
one side.
talking on the phone, right?
Yeah, and me and my parents are on the other side of the cabin, and I'm walking into our side, and she's out there talking on the phone, and I see a copperhead right there. And so I called my brother, who's in another cabin across camp, and I have him get a shovel because I'm just watching the snake because it's moving, and so I'm watching to make sure we know where it is so that we can kill it.
Yeah, and the way Mom tells it, she was standing there talking
And
for
she had
quite
no
some
idea.
time, and you came out and was looking at something funny, and she's like, "Luke, what are you looking at?" And you say, "A snake." So she told everybody that story this year and said she was not going to go talk on the phone in the dark because of that snake. Camp does house copperheads, I guess both locations. It's Arkansas and southeast Oklahoma.
So actually, I saw a picture from the camp's Facebook page over the weekend in between our two sessions.
Mhm.
There was a copperhead, a huge copperhead.
Ugh.
That is a snake.
Whew, that's a big one. Wow, that's a big snake. We'll have to post that one on the Facebook page. Eee!
Do it, do it.
And it looks like there's a bulge there too.
Oh, there is. There really is.
Well, then maybe it wasn't hungry for us.
It's too
Well,
small
it was
to
there
eat
when
us.
we were not there anyway.
Anyway, I dread to think about how many snakes I've probably walked past without knowing it.
Multiple.
At least you didn't know it.
Yes, well, they didn't bite me, so.
You didn't mess with him. He didn't mess with you.
There
well,
you
that,
go.
That worked really well with the beast. So how many camp injuries have we had? Well, there was Luke's fingers and the mouse traps. That was one casualty.
Oh, I wouldn't even count those as injuries.
There-
You had bruised fingers for quite some time over those mouse traps.
Well, my camp injuries are much more severe than a few bruised fingers.
Well, you sprained your ankle running in Crocs.
Mhm.
What else?
Which that's a fun story.
Oh, tell.
Do tell.
Well, we were pranking Shannon, who's always messing with everybody else. And so we were swapping out his Arkansas Razorbacks bed sheets for Dallas Cowboys bed sheets.
Mmm.
And
That's great.
me and the nurse's daughter, who was also also helping out that year, we were tasked with hiding the Arkansas bed sheets.
Mm.
And so we were going to put them in cabin 6, which is, way out
Mm-hmm.
from the rest of camp.
Was that one empty that year?
Yeah.
Some years we used cabin 6, but not every year.
Yeah, it was empty. And I think there were 3 cabins empty on that side. And so it was like the furthest that you could get. It was unnecessary to go that far. But the nurse's daughter was running ahead of me, like running, and I'm like, he's at the swimming hole, like, which is a few miles down the road, and he's there for like 45 minutes, and then they've got to drive back, and he's not gonna know. There's no need to run. And I told her that, but she insisted on running, and so I ran behind her.
Mm-hmm.
Except I was wearing Crocs that were already probably 2 sizes too big.
What could possibly go wrong?
Next thing I know, I'm on my back facing the other direction. Like, I'd spun completely around. I heard my ankle pop 4 times.
Ow!
And this girl didn't believe anything was wrong. She thought I was faking it, and finished the chore of taking the sheets to cabin 6 before coming back to check on me. And then I'm like, no, I can't walk. And finally went and got help.
And then you ended up going to urgent care or
well,
the ER or something
there's still
that night.
more to the story.
Oh, keep going.
My dad's taking a nap. We get into the kitchen. I've got my foot propped up, and it is so swollen. Like, I could put my foot flat on the ground, and my toes are like sticking
and
up.
I bet Grandma and Uncle Craig were over there giving you grief about it.
No, they were all taking naps too.
Oh, it was the cook's nap time. Okay.
Brother Billy was in there though, because he
Mhm.
was doing Bible Bowl during swim time.
Oh, yeah.
And he's in there. He comes up to me and he looks at my foot and he puts his hand like by my toe and starts pushing backwards. And I started screaming. He's like, "Yep, I think you need to see a doctor." I'm like, I could have told you that 10 minutes ago.
You didn't have to touch it for me to find out.
And so yeah, we ended up coming back to Texarkana and major sprain.
Oh, I
Put
didn't
me
realize
on-
you came all the way up back to Texarkana.
Yeah, put me on crutches.
I remember that was the year we were going to do the Subway song.
Yes, y'all still did the Subway song without me.
We did the Subway song without you. We'll have to come back to that in a minute.
Didn't I fill in for you, or did we get one of the other counselors to?
We got somebody, and we changed the
You-
lyrics some way that you didn't like.
filled in for me, and the nurse's daughter filled in for your part.
Gotcha.
Because you were already supposed to be in it.
Okay, yeah.
Well, Colin had always wanted to just have the bass line echo the soprano line.
Mm.
Subway, subway, subway. Except I never liked that idea. And so I got the idea for the bass line from the Subway napkin.
Eat fresh.
No.
No, that's
Sick-
what you sang, Brandon,
Yeah.
eventually. Yeah.
That is what I
We
said.
went through a few different iterations of this Subway song.
6-inch subs include Italian or 9-grain wheat bread, veggies, and meat. It's like in the fine print on the napkins, at least it was in 2012.
Yeah.
And so that's what I had written as the baseline.
Okay, so how did that go? You need to sing it for us.
6-inch subs include Italian or 9-grain wheat bread, veggies, and meat.
Okay, I'd forgotten that line. So if you don't know the tune, we're talking about the church song Someday, and it's a soprano, alto, tenor, bass, and all the different parts come in. So the original song is Someday, 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 someday. So we changed it, of course, to Subway, 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 subway. Hopefully this one is out of copyright so we can have it on the podcast. We'll see.
Our parody should be fine, at least.
Anyway, and then the alto line was ham and cheese and turkey, chips and drink with that, Subway. And then the tenor was
I want to get a $5 foot long. I want to get a $5 foot long. I want to get a $5 foot long at Subway.
Yeah.
And so we were performing this for skit night. So we still performed it without Luke, which was quite unfortunate because we had practiced it for a long, long, long time with all 4 of us. But
And
it was performed.
the line I ended up doing was, eat fresh, eat fresh, eat fresh at Subway.
Yeah,
For
that
the
was the part that we changed.
Yeah, for the bass line.
Yep.
And Luke's still giving him a face.
He did not like our change.
Nope.
I can tell.
I wasn't even consulted on it.
You were
Like
out of
you
commission.
weren't, yeah,
I
you
had
weren't
a
even
cell
there,
phone.
and you were quite concerned with your swollen foot.
We had to improvise, dude.
I was there for the performance, which is what upset me. Had I not been there for the performance, I wouldn't have known about it.
See,
Okay.
it would have been all fine if you just stayed at urgent care longer. Anyway.
It wasn't my fault that I got out of urgent care when I did.
But the great part, so we did this song, but then you remember the ending line?
What? No.
If we ended the play with, nah, let's go to Burger King. Everybody's like, oh, okay.
I do not remember that.
Yeah.
I might not have stuck around for that.
I think
I kind
that
of
was-
took off.
I think that was in the original plan.
You took off or you hopped off?
We were
Not
gonna.
nice.
We were gonna.
Sorry.
We were gonna have this huge big deal about going to Subway, and then the end of it was like, nah, let's go to Burger King.
But then, so that was the biggest injury I had at camp.
Yeah. What other injuries?
I guess the most severe, I guess. Another year was probably bigger, but not quite as severe. It was another year I sprained my ankle.
Mm-hmm.
And this was also in Oklahoma. It was like Friday night, like the last night of camp, and somebody behind me is calling, "Hey, Luke," and I'm walking away, and there's like 3 other Lukes there that week, and so I'm used to them, just calling somebody else, not necessarily talking to me. But I figured I should turn around and look just in case they are trying to get my attention, but I didn't quit walking because I was pretty sure they weren't trying to get my attention. But the sidewalk curves, and I went right off the end of the sidewalk. And this is like not your typical sidewalk.
It wasn't level with the ground, so there was like a little step down, and then there was dirt.
It goes about 6 inches
Oh,
down.
you weren't okay.
and
You're
there's
the
no-
other side of the sidewalk, the side that drops off to the trees. Yeah, that is a bigger drop.
And there's no curb, and so it's not smooth on that edge. It's rocky and just
It's just a drop off.
concrete. And so I twist one ankle going down, and my other leg just scrapes straight down that corner of the sidewalk and gets all kinds of dirt and rocks and debris all in that cut too.
Ouch.
And I was the camp nurse that year.
Plot
Great.
twist.
And so I had to pour alcohol on it myself,
Oh.
at which I was jumping out of the chair and screaming. And so I finally had someone else pour the alcohol so I could just hold onto the chair and scream.
Ouch.
It was very painful. This is after it was cleaned up.
Dude.
I love how you looked at that and then craned your neck back to the microphone to react.
Can we share that one on the page as well?
Yes. Might have
Maybe
to
we'll have to
put
put a
a-
link to it. If you want to see Luke's scraped up leg, click here.
And then my other foot ended up in a boot that year. Yeah, that was not fun. Oh, and I was hopping around. I was using a lawn chair like a crutch for the rest of that evening.
But at least it was the last day.
Yes.
And junior camp, the one that we worked at, is the little kids' camp, and that's always the last one in the lineup. So when that week of camp is done. So you got to go home.
Oh, no, that was at the end of middle camp.
Oh.
So I had another week, actually.
Did you decline to do the other week, or did you?
Oh, no.
You still did the other week.
Yes.
Impressive.
So this camp is like my happy place.
Mhm.
I'm not going to be there.
You're gonna go, and thus there's absolutely no way for you to be there.
Right.
I mean, he
like
checked
the year
himself
I was-
out of the emergency room. We already talked about this.
So that was the same session. That wasn't the other spraining.
No. That was a whole different thing. After he had heart problems a couple years ago,
Oh, the heart problem. That's
and he
right.
was in the emergency room dying. He left the emergency room and went to camp anyway.
I wasn't dying.
Okay, not quite, but
I had
you weren't in good
fainting
shape
spell.
either.
I'd had a fainting spell at church the day before, and with my heart condition, that's apparently really dangerous because I'm at like a really high risk of sudden death syndrome.
Mhm.
but now you have a defibrillator. But
Yes.
you didn't then.
Yes. And that was actually what kind of triggered that. And what the ER wanted to do was transfer me to Dallas so that I could be monitored and then get the pacemaker defibrillator implanted immediately. But what ended up happening, since I checked myself out, it ended up taking like 6 months to get the pacemaker defibrillator.
Oh.
Yeah.
Instead of like the next day. But yeah, it all worked out one way or another.
Right.
I'm still here, aren't I?
Yes.
I have the pacemaker defibrillator now.
Yeah.
We're good.
Good.
I didn't die in front of the kids and traumatize them.
Thank goodness
I-
you did not.
Like, we're still good.
Yeah.
But yes, I did check myself out of the ER, concerned that I would not get to speak at camp the next day.
He needs to sort out his priorities.
Better than being expelled.
So, how did the prank on Shannon go? You never told us the ending of that part.
I don't really remember exactly. I remember him saying that when he gets pranked, he gets revenge 7 times over. But he did tell me that I was off the hook because he felt that the sprained ankle was punishment enough. But I don't remember what all exactly happened as a result of all that because it didn't happen directly to me.
Well, I remember one year in middle camp, one of the girls' counselors, when I was a camper, one of the girls' counselors had an idea to collect cans to recycle all week. And we did collect cans to recycle all week. But her devious scheme was that on Thursday night, the last night of camp, we were going to go and take all of our crushed cans and throw them at the boys' cabins and wake them up.
Huh.
And so we did do that. And then we sang You Are My Sunshine or something when they came out. And the boys said it wasn't even that loud. It was just like kind of soft pitter-patters on the roof. To give some context, these are A-frame cabins where the roofs make an A shape and they go almost to the ground, and they're metal-roofed cabins. So theoretically could be pretty loud, but apparently throwing crushed soda cans is not that loud. But then the less fun part was when the boys got us back. And they didn't even get as creative as crushed soda cans. They just showed up at our cabins the next morning and started banging on the roof with sticks. And of course it's the biggest sticks they can find, and that did make a racket. Jolted us out of bed, though I guess the boys got us back 7 times worse that time. I don't know.
Caveman mode. Ugh, ugh. Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, that was plenty of racket. Just pick up the biggest stick and start banging on the roof.
Did you participate in any fun church camp pranks?
I'm not sure about a prank, but there was a different church camp. Our cabins had 2 sides, so it was split. And so we would, some of the guys crawled up through the ceiling to go to the other side to make some racket. And then they came back through, and I helped catch the guys as they were coming back down through the ceiling. One of the older guys in our cabin convinced the boys in the other cabin, it was just a group hallucination, all the boys, they're as they're maturing, it all happens at that age in life. I think he convinced somebody that it was like a group hallucination.
So I just remembered one other detail to the whole Shannon story, because I had been supposed to be at the swimming hole with Shannon that day, but I wanted to stay back and help with this prank. And my excuse for not going to the swimming hole with him, my foot hurt.
Oh!
Lies become true.
Yeah.
Oh.
But the best church camp prank that I have been a part of started kind of accidentally, I guess. You both know Sonny.
Yes.
And he kind of looks like me. He's shorter, but he looks a lot like me.
With blonde hair.
Yeah.
No, he's got kind of reddish hair.
Okay, it used
Does
to
he?
be blonde when he was little.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's darker now. It's brighter red than mine, but his hair is a lot darker than it used to be.
Oh, I'll have to see him again. Okay. Anyway, keep going.
But he looks a lot like me, and people comment on that all the time. And then at our retreat a few years ago, somebody apparently asked him if I was his dad, and he said yes.
Oh.
And so then they came to me and said, Sonny said you're his dad, is that true? Well, that's why his name is Sonny, because he's my son. And they're like, oh, that makes so much sense.
And they believed it.
No, it doesn't. But he had so much fun with that, he started telling people that every time. And there's always been at least one person that falls for it. There was this one kid even that pulled me aside and started lecturing me about premarital sex.
What?
And, which,
kid?
I mean, this is like a senior in high school.
Yeah.
But
Because Luke's not married, so if this kid was Luke's kid, yeah.
But I told I told him, just because I'm not married now doesn't mean I was never married.
Twist the plot.
And somehow, like, the entire staff that year got involved on this.
Really?
Like, because he would go around to different people asking about my wife. And they would just go, oh, that's such a sad story.
They went with it.
And like, even this kid's parents are on staff and they're in on it. And like at the end of camp, I told him the truth. You know, he's not really my son. I mean, he's only like 10 years younger than me. Like,
yeah.
The math doesn't really work out, but his mom was telling me later that he went home from camp and was still asking about him being my son because he didn't believe me when I told him the truth finally.
Huh. Poor kid.
And then every year I see him, he always brings that back up. And then one year, I wasn't even really participating in it. Sonny was kind of pushing it, and this was when I was in Missouri, and I brought some kids from Missouri to the winter retreat.
Mhm.
And Sonny was telling that story, and one of the girls from Missouri was the one to fall for it, and Sonny just kept going on and on. Earlier in the weekend, after she was told that I had once been married, she came up to me and apologized because she had always thought I was just a single Pringle. And she was apologizing for thinking that when I'd been through so much, apparently.
So just to make clear for the record, Luke has never been married.
Or had a child.
This was all a story that got a little out of control.
Yeah.
One time at church camp.
But yeah, then Sonny just keeps digging the hole deeper, and she's actually crying. And so I told her the truth. And Sonny was mad at me for ruining the whole thing. But
There's a time when stories need to end.
yeah, and I haven't passed that on since then either.
So speaking of Sonny, Brandon and I almost attended his baptism, but we missed it.
Forgot about this. Tell me the story.
Oh,
yeah, y'all were waiting on the baptistry to be filled, and so y'all went to Sonic, and then by the time you got back, it was over.
There was more to it than that. Okay, so it was Sunday morning church, and Sonny had decided to be baptized, and the service was over, and for some reason there was no water in the baptistry, and they start filling the baptistry, and it's filling at like a trickle, and it's after Sunday morning service, and I'm like starving, and at the current rate of flow of the faucet, it's gonna take like 3 hours for the baptistry to fill. Not an exaggeration. Like, that's what was going on, and the plan was just for everybody to sit there starving for 3 hours while they wait for the baptistry to fill. And I told Brandon, how about we just go to Sonic and get us some food and then come back? And so we went to Sonic, and somehow on our way back from Sonic, the water pressure came back or something, and the baptistry filled, and then we got back like right after he was baptized. So we accidentally missed Sonny's baptism because I decided we needed to go to Sonic.
The spirit was willing, but the flesh was weak and hungry.
It was. I was so hungry. but we got there for the welcome circle afterwards. So, yeah.
The welcome circle. So do we tell us, is that a common tradition, a welcome circle?
I guess. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how it was.
Everybody has their own things.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't even a circle. Maybe we just all gave Sonny hugs and told him congratulations. But anyway, that's what happened with us and Sonny's baptism. We missed timed going to Sonic and missed it.
I wasn't there.
Sorry, Sonny.
Luke wasn't there.
His own father.
I think his real dad was there.
I'm sure both of his parents were there.
Okay, what else have we got to tell about camp? Other skits that we have done. Okay, so there was one that we did on Shannon, and I'd forgotten about this, but
The ugliest person in the world?
The ugliest person in the world. I found a recording of that the other week saved in my old computer files.
Yeah, I think we have it on Facebook even.
We probably do. So you want to tell that story?
Well, I was the ugliest person in the world, covered up with a sleeping bag, and one by one people would come up to look at me, and they would die as soon as they saw me.
Yeah, Brandon was the announcer, and he was like, volunteers, volunteers, and all of the kids were like, me. But
I thought they were screaming and running away.
No, we fell down and passed out on the stage.
Oh.
I mean, it wasn't totally clear if we were dead or not, but
Gotcha.
You picked me and Colin, who were pre-planted volunteers, and then we have to... What was Shannon's name during the skit night? He had this character.
I don't remember. But then we had him open up the sleeping bag, and then I fell over dead.
Yeah, because Shannon's character wanted to have a turn, and then Luke fell over dead. And the kids got it. They were like, ha, 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 you're the ugliest man in the world, ha, ha. There's always this friendly animosity between Luke and Shannon. Luke, you want to tell us your camp nickname from Shannon?
Oh, great.
Now we have to hear it.
Tater.
Or Tater Tot.
No, it was just Tater.
No, I always thought it was Tater Tot.
No, it was Tater because of the tater tots, but the nickname itself was Tater.
Because Luke loves tater tots.
Can't resist them.
So on Tater Tot Day, Luke would have like 3 plates of tater tots, and Shannon started calling him Tater Tot.
You know, this year they had like a whole tray and a half of tater tots left after that meal was over, and I just had a plate full of tater tots, and a lot of people commented on it. I'm like, well, gotta live up to the nickname. Don't call me Tater for nothing.
But Shannon wasn't around this year to call you Tater, so...
That's true.
Aw.
Yeah, Shannon doesn't come to camp anymore.
That's sad.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, other camp skits that we've done. I'm sure we've done a few, but the best one I think was the KP skit.
I know there was the royal paper skit where I was like
There
a
was
king.
that.
I wanted the royal paper, and then somebody brings me a newspaper or a magazine, and I just roll it up. No, bring me the royal paper, and I smack him on the head. Anyway, then somebody brings the toilet paper, and I'm like, thank you, and then I run off stage.
Yeah. So KP was kitchen patrol, and camp doesn't have KP anymore, but it used to. And so different cabins would be assigned KP. When I was a camper, you got to do real stuff like washing all the big pots and pans from the kitchen. But by the time I was a counselor, we didn't have kids washing pots and pans anymore, and we used paper plates and plastic silverware. So at that point, the kids' responsibilities were to go around and ask people for drink refills and to take their plates and wipe down the tables and sweep the mess hall after the meal. And let's just say that 8 to 12-year-olds are pretty terrible at these jobs. So it was not uncommon for me to be sitting there with a full glass of water next to me, and a kid comes up with a pitcher of Kool-Aid and says, "Do you want a refill?" No, I don't want a refill of Kool-Aid in my full water glass. Thanks for your enthusiasm, but no. Or there was another time, Luke's dad, he was the camp director, and he's sitting there with a full plate of food, fork full of food, halfway to his mouth, and a kid walks up and says, "Are you done?" Meaning, can I take your plate? And Uncle Johnny just looks at him and says, "Do I look done to you?" Kid says, "No." "Okay then." And the kid says, "Well, I'll just sit here and wait for you then," and just sits down to watch him eat his lunch until he's done so he can take his plate.
I wish I had seen this.
Yeah, that was a moment. And then Luke's other comment was that they're always hovering like vultures waiting to do something. And then when you finally need them, because a lot of times the counselors would eat last and the kids would already be gone, then when you finally need them, they've all disappeared. And so we did a skit one year called KP, Kitchen Patrol. And Katrina and I were the campers who were dining, and Aaron had found us some chicken strips from the fridge, and so walking along talking about how great these chicken strips are, and then we needed a refill of something, and we had somebody come up and fill it to overflowing, and then they would ask us, "Can we refill your tea?" when we had water, and then you guys were intentionally obnoxious about KP.
I don't even remember the skit.
You don't remember? I mean, we need to find the recording.
But I heard about it. I wasn't in it myself.
Why were you not in it? I think you were at camp that year, but it was me and Carissa were the people dining, and Aaron was there, and Aaron's job was to wipe the table that we were sitting on, and so he would wipe, got all up in our space, wiping the table and moving our plates. Like, we couldn't have a conversation because he was wiping, and Lance was sweeping the floor and trying to take our plates, and they were all being so obnoxious. And then the punchline of the skit is that when Carissa and I finally finished our food, we look around and we're like, "Where'd they go?" So it was really hilarious, especially to the counselors, because that's exactly what the kids have been doing all week.
Mm-hmm.
But then the kids took it too far the next day and started on purpose spilling people's orange juice to overflowing, and so it kind of bit us back a little bit. But that was our best camp skit ever, I think.
Yeah, at middle camp one year, I did. Have y'all seen? You probably have. I don't know about you, but Dr. Baird's at Freshman Follies.
Oh, Bo Peep?
Yes.
I was there that year. I watched it
He did it again my year. So
okay,
yeah.
Dr. Baird's Bo Peep. That's another thing you can go look up on YouTube, listeners.
I did see that one.
Yeah, just look up Baird, Baird, Bo Peep, and Dr. Baird does a great Southern preacher, little Bo Peep.
And so I did a version of that, not quite as dramatic as his, but still enjoyable for the kids.
Mm-hmm. Can you give me a Bo Peep?
Bo Peep!
Yes.
There was one story, or there was one skit in junior session where before the cabin came out to do their skit, the counselor told us, "Okay, just imagine everybody following me is sitting on the toilet." And so then the kids do their thing. One kid pretends that he's sitting in the electric chair being shocked. And so he's just sitting there, "Ah!" And then another kid, he's sitting there like he got broken up with over the phone. He's sitting there with his phone, "No! No!" And then the third kid comes over there and he's pretending that he was riding a roller coaster. "Whoa! Ah! Ah!" Hands in the air, everything. And the camp is busting up laughing. It was hilarious.
They did have a pretty good one this year. He lines all the kids up in chairs and he says, "Well, cabin 4, I think it was 4B, has discovered that there are a lot of great uses for jelly." And so he goes and puts it on one kid's finger and he's like, "Jelly can be used for chapstick." And he gives it to another kid and he's like, "Jelly can be used for toothpaste." And then they go on and jelly can be used for like sunscreen and lotion and shampoo and I don't remember the whole list, but then we had a bunch of kids covered in jelly who needed to go take a shower.
So, actually, there was a group of kids. Sonny was one of them a few years ago. I had been making a Walmart run, and so I wasn't there to stop this or see it. But they did that with peanut butter. And this is my cabin that I have to sleep in that night.
Luke is like deathly allergic to peanuts. That's the missing detail here.
And I wasn't the only one with a peanut allergy there. There was another kid in the audience there that had an EpiPen because of a peanut allergy. And they're just doing this. They've got peanut butter everywhere.
Goodness, they should have done it with regular butter or something.
It made me so mad. And it was also just ridiculous, like the mess they made.
This group kept the mess mostly contained to the boys.
Yeah, and they used jelly because I think where they get this from actually does use peanut butter in the original skit, but their head counselor is also allergic to peanut butter, and so that is one of the big reasons why they would not have used peanut butter. But yeah, that made me so mad that year. Public service announcement, since Jennifer got one earlier. There are people out there with peanut allergies. Ice cream places, they'll use the same scoop for every carton of ice cream out there, and they'll just stick the scoop back in a tub of water with all the other scoops, and it's all contaminated. And so a lot of times I don't get ice cream at these places, or I'll just get frozen yogurt out of the machine so that the scoop's not touching it. It ruins the experience.
Yeah, that stinks.
Yeah.
In the vein of camp injuries, I remember a girl one year as a camper. I don't know if she had woken up to take a shower or if she was sleepwalking to take a shower, but the cabins at Beaver's Bend had a loft upstairs and these really steep stairs that went up to the 4 beds in the loft, and she was sleeping upstairs and was getting up in the morning to take a shower. Fell down the stairs, all of her soap bottles and everything hit the concrete floor, woke up the entire cabin except her. So I don't know if she was sleepwalking or if she got a concussion and forgot it, but she woke up the next morning. You know, they got her back to bed and she's like, oh, I'm fine, everything's okay. And she went back to bed. Or I think she actually went out to take her shower first and then went back to bed.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Woke up the whole cabin except her, went back to bed, wakes up when it's actually morning with all of these bruises and didn't know where she had gotten them.
Probably sleepwalking.
And the entire rest of the cabin. Ooh, that was... Soap bottles falling on concrete floor is loud, guys. Especially when it's in the middle of the night and you're dead asleep.
Oh.
I guess my one not-so-bad camp injury was on the slip and slide. So we used to do a giant slip and slide. And my body and my terrible hand-eye coordination don't know what to do with slip and slide. So I tried it and fell on my butt and hurt my back and got to deal with that for the rest of the week. But...
Ouch.
Yeah, me and slip and slides don't go together. But that year, the more funny part of the story is that somehow I got conned into running the slip and slide. Like, that was the activity for the morning, and somehow I was in charge of it. Don't know how that happened. So somebody else had set up the slip and slide, and the girls went first. And this was one of the years that we were really full at camp, and so we had maybe 90 girls waiting in line to go down this slip and slide, and it takes about 2 people at a time. And so I'm thinking efficiency, right? How do we get the most girls down the slip and slide so that they spend less time waiting in line and more time sliding? And so I split the line into 2 parts, and we were gonna send people down on each side, except for tween-age girls, everything is a social activity. And so the girls did not care about getting more time on the slip and slide. The girls cared about going with their friend. And so I was aiming for efficiency, and you pull one person from each side and you go and you go and you go, but that's not the way it worked. And Mom was helping me run it, and she's like, well, these 2 girls from this side have to go together, now these 2 have to go together, and then now there's a group of 3 that have to go together. It was all about going down the slip and slide with your friend. And it's like, come on, guys. Or we kind of had the same thing with shower time this year. The girls wanted to have shower buddies. Now, at the Beaver's Bend camp, shower buddies were sometimes useful because they would buddy up and have someone like hand all your shampoo bottles in and out of the shower and stuff because you had to carry everything. But shower buddies at this camp just meant that you were showering in adjacent showers at the same time. And this was so important to them to go shower with their shower buddy. And I'm like, I can't do shower buddy. Just go take a shower. I want to go to sleep. Anyway, but then I ran the slip and slide for the boys, and I was like, oh my goodness, the boys are going to be terrible. They're going to like kill each other on this thing. The boys were so perfect. The boys were 100% on board with my plan of get as many people down the slip and slide as many times as possible in the time that we have, and they were great. So all that to say, I prefer boys slip and slide over girls slip and slide. I was much happier with the boys. The end.
Yay.
So what other camp topics do we need to cover?
I know we've had stomach virus go around a few times.
Oh, let's not even go there.
Okay.
I don't think I was there on that, but there was one year where like 2 other cabins had lice in the whole cabin, but
yeah, there was that year too.
I was not a victim of that, thankfully.
What about the scavenger hunt where the counselors
Oh, the staff hunt.
The
Oh my
staff
goodness. Okay, Brandon, you're going to have to explain that.
Okay, so we would have different counselors agree to hide, and then when they got hidden, then the campers would come out and they'd go searching for them in groups. And so that one year, they made a poncho out of a trash bag. I wore the poncho, and then I hid in the dumpster, buried under some bags of trash.
And how did that go for you?
I lasted a long time. Now, a few kids did come look in the dumpster, and at one point I heard one kid say, "What? Nobody would hide in there." And then, of course, later on in that evening, somebody did find me, and they pulled me out, shining flashlights in my face, and they were like, "Everything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to remain silent," stuff like that.
Yeah.
Giving me my rights. Anyway, it was fun. They did find me eventually, but yeah, it took them a long time to find me, and that was great.
I had the best, worst hiding place one year, so I don't remember whose idea it was, but you remember at the back of the kitchen, at the back of the mess hall, they would always have a pile of boxes from Sam's or whatever that they got stuff. And there were tons of these boxes because you're feeding like 100 people. And so I hid under the boxes, but I hid under the boxes under my black flannel blanket so that I would blend in because it was dark. Don't ever go hide in 90-degree weather under a flannel blanket. It's miserable.
Sounds miserable.
So I was really well hidden, but I was like nearly suffocating. So there's me under my blanket, under all of these boxes, and tons of kids walked past me before one boys' cabin finally found me. And they did the same thing. They're like, "You're arrested. You're not allowed to escape." And I'm like, I've never been so happy to be captured in my entire life. Like, you have no idea how glad I am to be out from under that blanket. I'm not running away anywhere.
My best hiding places were always in plain sight. Like, I would be so out in the open just doing stuff that nobody knew I was one of the ones hiding. And
So like what were you doing?
Well, there was one year I just walked around with one of the cabins.
Oh.
As a staffer, I walked around with one of the cabins, which they did announce that there would be a wild card counselor hiding out there. And if anybody asked, I would have to admit that I was it. But the only people that asked were the kids in the cabin that I was with. And I had started out in the cabin with them, waiting for everybody to go hide. I waited in there with them, and they were only asking me before the game officially started.
Oh,
when I didn't have to tell them.
It didn't count.
And I just ignored them and answered another question they were asking me. And so it didn't count and never got found that year.
Wow.
And then one year I was the scorekeeper. I was the one keeping track of when everybody comes, and I was technically hiding. They could have gotten points if they had asked me if I was hiding. And those were the only 2 times I got away with it. But those were the best hiding places I had, just in plain sight. Now, there was one year a few years ago at the new place. This was middle camp. So with the middle schoolers, this one guy, so under that pavilion, like where we eat, there's not a ceiling. It's just open rafters up there. And this one guy decides to climb up in the rafters, and then he lost his footing and fell. And so he's hanging on. He's got 2 arms hanging on, and his ankles are hanging on, and his butt is just falling through, and it's like everybody has to come out of hiding because he's about to actually fall and seriously hurt himself. And we had to move the ping pong table because that was right underneath him. He would have broken that, and we had to move one of the picnic tables under so some adults could climb on top and lift him up out of there. That was almost really bad.
Yeah.
But also hilarious to think about.
Again, everything at this camp is concrete floors.
Yeah.
Okay, well, last but not least, we didn't have a staff hunt this year, but Lance kind of pulled a prank on the kids. Not quite a prank, but...
I'm interested. Tell me.
It was a morning activity.
It was a morning activity. So on the first day of morning activities, you go through how to do all the tournaments. Well, before we did tournaments, Lance told all the girls, he said, go into your cabin and get a shirt. He claims he said t-shirt. I didn't zone in on that part one, but a shirt that you don't mind getting wet. And so all the girls were like, okay. And they all rushed back to the cabins to get a shirt that they didn't mind getting wet. He said, don't give me the shirt off your back. Don't wear it, but bring me a shirt that you don't mind getting wet. And so all the girls came with their shirts and he had them roll it up and everybody put their shirt in a gallon Ziploc bag and wrote their name on the outside of the bag. And Lance took up all the bags and said, you get it back tomorrow. Well, meanwhile, he went to the mess hall and filled all the bags with water, enough to cover the shirt and just a little bit more. And then they ended up
in the freezer.
In the freezer, where Luke was wondering why are there t-shirts in the freezer. And the next morning, he pulled the kids out and he pulled out the bags. And these shirts are frozen solid. And he hands the girls back each their bag and he says, okay, the first one to get their shirt on wins. Those kids were not impressed.
Well, it kept them busy for 45 minutes, and that was the goal.
Oh, it definitely kept them busy for 45 minutes. They started out throwing them. Those were frozen solid. And so they were like throwing ice blocks everywhere. Some of them were smart and sitting out in the sun and trying to thaw it. Some of them used their body heat a little bit. Some of them just gave up. Like, this is so boring. So eventually he gave them some guidance and got them to work on it. He told the boys that they couldn't throw it because some of the girls made holes in their shirts. From being so rough with it.
Wow.
Trying to break the ice. Later that day, we were studying for Bible Bowl, and one of the questions was that James didn't want his readers to be deceived. And so we were talking about what does deceived mean? Well, it means tricked. And I said, kind of like you guys felt a little deceived by Lance at the activity this morning. And they were like, yeah, and they you can try it, but they weren't too thrilled.
They really learned their lesson that time.
They learned their lesson. I told Lance he can only pull that every 3 or 4 years because if they remember, they're never going to give him a shirt again.
Yep.
I think it's the big kid version of, you ever hear put a piece of tape on a baby's toe and let him fight to get it off and that'll keep him busy for 30 minutes? I think it was the big kid version of that.
I haven't heard this one, but that sounds fun.
It's an old, not quite wives' tale, but just something people have said. Yep, that'll keep him busy.
Has anyone tried it?
I'm sure.
I haven't.
Well, Google AI said it was dangerous anyway, so.
Yeah.
Since Google AI is the expert on everything.
Indeed. I thought that was ChatGPT, though. I thought that was the main expert, and the Google AI was the second expert.
I don't even know.
It depends on what you need. They all do different things.
And they all do different things badly. Some of them they do well.
So maybe we should speak to a pediatrician about taping babies' toes.
Or just don't do it.
Or that, too.
It sounds a little sadistic anyway.
I just figured we'd check with a pediatrician, and they tell us no, and then we don't ever do it. But then we get an expert who's a human to tell us not to do it.
They'd probably tell you not to freeze kids' t-shirts either. Anyway.
Well, yeah, there's that. It might help on a hot day, though.
It was a hot day. They were not impressed.
Did they keep cool?
I don't think they were very hot yet.
Oh.
After that, they did water balloon volleyball, and that went over a little bit better.
Okay.
Any other final camp thoughts?
I think in junior session, I was too young to appreciate it. Like, I didn't get much from the Bible studies at the time. So, like, I skipped out of middle session back in middle school, but then I came back at least 1 year in senior session, and I enjoyed it a lot more. And I got much more from the Bible studies, and I was much more social then, so I made more friends.
So I went through junior and middle, and then I didn't go to senior.
Same here.
At all.
Mm-hmm.
And then started going to senior as an adult and regretted not having gone as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I'd had those experiences.
Yeah. Like in junior session, I was bored with the Bible studies and Bible Bowl. And plus there was this one big kid that dunked me several times at the water hole. So
Yeah.
I did not have a good time in junior session.
Which is why you kept coming back when you were older and still getting dunked by the big kids.
Well, when you are the big kid and it's junior session, you can have it as a challenge where the little kids try to dunk you.
Some of them were still bigger than you and dunking you.
Well, okay, at least one of them was almost my size.
And
but
especially when 4 of them are on top of you.
Okay, that's when it's a fun
So you
show.
enjoyed it then?
When you choose to do it, it's fun. When it's when you are the little kid and it's being done to you and you have no say, that is when it is terrible and you possibly fear drowning. Or you're like, Like, you don't get a chance to breathe except when he picks you up. That was not a fun time.
You could have always gotten out of the water.
After he let me go.
Not gotten in the next day.
Well, I thought that was towards the end, but I don't really remember what day that was. Anywho, so kids, be nice to the other kids or else you might ruin church camp for them, and they might not come back until they're teenagers.
And also, go to church camp. You'll have a great time.
Yes.
And wear bug spray, because there were lots of mosquitoes.
And carry flashlights in case you're going out at night.
There's snakes.
Watch out for snakes.
One year there was a hog.
Oh, yeah. That hog. It was a big black hog, and it was wandering around the outskirts of camp. And one time there were girls, they told us they were chasing it. And we were like, what do you mean you're chasing the hog? Don't chase the hog. And then another time, Mom and I in our cabin, we would get up and shower in the morning. And in Oklahoma, the bathhouse was separate from the cabin, so you had to walk over there. And I got up one morning and I saw the hog walking around the bathhouse, except for I didn't get a good view on it, so I wasn't quite sure what it was. And so I told Mom, and she decided it must have been a bear, and then freaked everybody out thinking there was a bear around the bathhouse. It was just the hog, but it was the hog.
Might have been more dangerous than a bear.
Maybe. I did not have any close encounters with the hog, but I saw the hog. There were deer, too. You could go out and
Yeah, there were a lot of deer out
see the
there.
deer.
I definitely saw the deer. I did not see the hog, but I got to see the deer several times, and like they would come up in the pasture, or they might even graze next to the dumpsters and stuff.
Mhm.
It was cool seeing them so close.
Uncle Craig would throw out the watermelon rinds for them.
And like he said that one time he threw out like a ham and cheese sandwich, and you'd see a deer trying to eat a ham and cheese sandwich. It sounded hilarious. It was going like, ow,
I've
ow,
never seen
ow.
that, but they liked the watermelon leftovers.
Oh yes, definitely.
Lots of fun memories at church camp. Anyway, it was nice having you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me. I guess I'll see you again around the holidays.
Yep.
Cool beans.
Hopefully we will have you on plenty more episodes. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please like, subscribe, and leave a review. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, where the conversation never ends. Thanks for listening.